What is up, you awesome kisters? It is CistReactZ, guys. Today we're reacting to 10 best lost secrets in Poppy Playtime so far by Tetrabit Gaming. So make sure you guys subscribe to them, hit that like button, and comment down below. Now, Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 is going to be releasing tomorrow, and I'm going to be playing it on the channel. So make sure you guys hit the like button on this video and turn on all notifications after subscribing if you have not. All right, let's get right into it.
In Poppy Playtime so far before the release of Chapter 4, ranging from unused objects to even
Shotgun
some
shells?
rooms. Now, before we get started, I'd like to proudly announce that I've officially partnered with GamerSupps.
Make sure you guys go check out that GamerSupps sponsorship if you guys want.
Number 1.
Here we go.
Starting things off here, we have a hidden lemon tucked away out of bounds in the school area.
A
It's
hidden
located
lemon?
just behind a window and hidden behind this prop, just waiting to be discovered. Now, you might be wondering why I think this lemon is so interesting. Well, it turns out that this is actually a running joke by the game's developers, and this lemon isn't just sitting there, it actually talks. When interacted with, it says... Limon! Now, the lemon lore gets even deeper, as there's also a secret death screen tied to this lemon back in Chapter 1. If you interact with the lemon repeatedly, it triggers a special sound effect titled Limon Death. Limon. And after getting bamboozled, the death screen simply displays the words Limon, Limon. And yeah, in Chapter 3, the lemon makes a return as a little hidden secret for players who explore areas they're typically not meant to reach. It's a fun little detail that adds a touch of humor to those who discover it. Hopefully, the developers will keep including these hidden lemons in future
They need to
chapters.
make a lemon jump scare, like just a straight up jump scare.
So there's this cool secret area
as if you got caught by Huggy itself
in the Playhouse map in Chapter 3. To find this area, you need to go to this wall in the pool room, and just behind it, we can find the entrance to the scrapped ride section, where the plan was for the player to ride these duck boat things. Coolest part, this duck boat is actually fully functional too. Just interact with the boat and you'll get sucked into it and phase through the first barrier here.
Interesting.
And then the duck ride will slowly move you through the area, and you'll need to pull some levers to open some gates, or should I say this one lever, since the next one turns out to be impossible to grab onto. No matter where you look here,
why are the toys just hung up like
will
that?
Prevent you from grabbing onto anything, making it impossible to complete the full ride. Now, there are a few theories on how this part could have been used, most of them revolving around two things. First, that it could have been a scrapped segment for escaping Dog Day, as his jail section is close by.
I forgot Dog Day was evil.
The other main theory is that this would have been another area where the mini smiling critters would chase you around, and it would have been kind of like a shooting gallery, where you would have to be aware of your surroundings and shoot at the smiling critters with flares, all while making sure to open the gates. Now, had this ride been fully functional and implemented, it seems like it would have ended up on this beach, where after going through a shipwreck, you would find your way to the prison section, where normally here you see Dog Day. Another interesting detail is that if you enable seeing triggers in the game, you will actually see red arrows pointing the opposite direction of this shipwreck.
What?
Now, usually these arrows indicate the direction which the player should be taking, but in this case, based on the direction that this ride takes, I don't think the arrow here is correct. Number 3.
Hidden photos?
In the main foyer of Playtime Company in Chapter 1, there are two posters going down each of the two side hallways.
Poppy wants to play.
And if we look what's below them, just under the floor, we can actually find some hidden creepy pictures of different people with their faces scribbled out. Now, it's unclear who exactly these people were supposed to be.
They're probably the devs, honestly.
They may have been meant to be some staff members working at the facility, but who knows? It also seems like these pictures were generated using thispersondoesnotexist.com.
This person
a site
does not
which generates
exist.
the face of a person that, you guessed it, doesn't actually exist, which is honestly pretty dang unsettling.
And pretty weird. How the hell?
Number 4, let's start
Who
with
even
looking
made
at
that
some
idea?
concept sketches. Here we have two concept sketches of the main Playcare concourse area made by Sunny Lee, a concept artist that helped out with Chapter 3 here. Now, these drawings show off Playcare in both a lit-up daytime version as well as with the lights off. And although this sketch looks pretty similar to what we can see in the final game, there's one detail that immediately caught my attention. And it's that we can see the toy store in its original, cleaner state. In one of my previous videos, I mentioned how the toy store was originally meant to actually be explored by the player in this chapter, and how ultimately the idea was scrapped. Then there's also this part of the sketch that shows a painting of the area that somebody was working on. What's interesting about this painting though is the big red circle around the left side of the toy store. Although it's unclear what it was meant to be, I think it could have been a hint for the player to find something there. Now
maybe
for number
just a
5,
whole new jump scare to die from.
Related to the orange flare shooting hand remain left over in the game. These include an unused ammo crate, small ammo, and although there's no leftover model for it, a small ammo box. Now, these unused assets suggest that the flare gun hand was originally designed to have limited ammo rather than the current used system where it reloads automatically after a cooldown. Players would have needed to find
that's
either
more
individual
useful,
flare
honestly.
shells scattered around the area or larger quantities stored in those ammo crates.
Much more useful.
And interestingly, one of these ammo crates is still present in the early version of the Catnap boss fight map, where it appears that it would have been constantly refilled by a pipe. Considering how necessary these flares are in the playhouse area for fending off the smiling critters, and how later in the chapter they can be used as a
I forgot that they just kind of fly up like that.
Catnaps during the final fight, I think it makes sense why the developers switched to an unlimited ammo system so the players wouldn't be left ammo-less. Additionally, the texture on the unused ammo crate gives more context about the flares themselves.
40 caliber?
The 40 on the texture seems to indicate the number of rounds per box, while the rest of the text here seems to suggest that although these seem to have been modeled to look like 12-gauge shotgun shells, these were actually intended to be 50 caliber linked armor-piercing incendiary rounds.
What
now,
the hell?
Of course, the flares in this chapter don't seem to have any armor-piercing capability, so it's likely the developers created this texture based on real military ammunition boxes. Still, it's interesting to speculate that in addition to making toys and running an orphanage, Playtime Company might also have dabbled in ammunition manufacturing.
To take over the world.
Number 6. In Chapter 2, there's a lot of unused videos hidden in the game's files. The first video, labeled as New Greenhand Demo, is one of these.
Greenhand?
Despite having new in its name mentioned twice, it appears to be an early version of a tutorial video for the Green Hand. The video shows a scrapped feature of the Green Hand, a timer that's visible on it, and it would count down for the 10-second limit of holding power. The warning to use the Green Hand with caution is also way different in this early video, as the consequences of reckless use is shown to be more, well, graphic.
Yeah.
Number 7, school puzzles in Chapter 3. Next up, we have 6 unused placeholder hint textures that were meant for...
See, I know Poppy likes its puzzles and stuff, but if I would have seen that during a puzzle section, I would have just been dead. Like all this, like, it just looks all confusing, man. I could not do it.
For the school area in the 3rd chapter. These hints appear to represent 6 different school subjects: art, math, science, reading, spelling, and
imagine you have to do
science.
Schoolwork just to progress.
Now it looks like these hint at a scrapped idea for 6 puzzles to be scattered throughout the school, which the player would have had to solve in order to progress. With a few of these puzzles also seemingly offering a choice of either going left or right. The art puzzle appears to have involved mixing colors, and interestingly, these just so happen to be the 3 colors of the right grab pack hands that you use in this chapter. The math puzzle seems to have had the player solving some sort of code. This next one is much more philosophical,
chickens make
implementing
eggs,
the
eggs make
question
chickens.
of which came first, the chicken or the egg. And then, some of the other puzzles are a bit harder to interpret. For example, I have no idea how the planet or blue and red squares puzzles could have played out. And although the planet puzzle wasn't implemented, it does seem like a few models related to it still ended up being used in the game. I think it would have been great to see more puzzles like this in the chapter instead of just the power puzzles or battery ones. However, it's quite possible that the developers felt that these...
Me personally, I kind of just want more of like an Outlast type of thing where we have to like hide while grabbing something. like, I don't know, we have to like make sure we're not caught by like Yarnaby or something, grab a battery and then just take it to this place, grab more batteries that are guarded by toys, rather than having to wrap my arm around 15 power poles and then figure out where to throw it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird, but I like a horror game that's just strictly horror. I don't know.
These scrapped puzzles might have slowed the game's pace a bit too much, and they chose to scrap them in favor of keeping the school area focused on battery puzzles, leading up to the final encounter with Miss Delight.
Watching someone go through that is still
8,
scary.
Multiplayer mode Leftover in Chapter 2.
Huh?
Leftover files in Chapter 2 reveal a partially scrapped multiplayer mode with assets and features similar to Dead by Daylight. Based on leftovers in the game, the mode appeared to have involved one player controlling a monster such as Huggy Wuggy or Mommy
Huggy
Longlegs,
model.
while the other players would take on the role of colorful Playtime Company characters seen in the in-game training videos. And leftover in Chapter 2 were actually models of these playable characters in orange, green, yellow, blue, and red.
So
Now,
basically
if this
OG
idea
Project
sounds familiar,
Playtime.
it should, as this idea was eventually turned into the Project Playtime multiplayer spin-off that plays pretty much exactly how it was outlined back in the Chapter 2 leftovers.
They already had multiplayer in their mind. They were ambitious.
Did make their way into Project Playtime, there's one that never got added. This unused gesture left over in Chapter 2 was meant to have been activated by pressing the F and U keys simultaneously, and
What the fuck?
And in addition to all of that, left over in Chapter 2 were also various character animations, some death screens designed for the multiplayer mode, and more. It's cool that we eventually did see this content repurposed, albeit kind of abandoned nowadays. It was extra cool to find this stuff left over in Chapter 2 before all that. Number 9.
Ugh.
Originally, the Huggy image was left unused way back in Chapter 1.
Oh
But
no.
with the release of Chapter 3, we saw the developers remake and reuse this for the Hallucination Huggy VHS tape in the Nightmare section of Home Sweet Home.
I still remember how I was down the hall already when he came out the screen. I still remember that.
Side, we can certainly see some differences, but this was definitely inspired by this old, unused, creepy image. Now,
like the little drool, well, you can still see it, the little drool in between the unused one's teeth. Holy hell.
Now, according to an ex-developer, the Huggy image was actually made when they were rigging up the model of Huggy Wuggy for Chapter 1, and it was actually apparently just the result of deforming the mesh a bit and turning down the gamma levels. And I think this original Huggy image is probably one of my favorite bits of unused content from the series. Number 10, the early Chapter 2 beta found in the game. Just how it sounds, when Chapter 2 first launched, left over in the files was straight up just an unfinished early build of the game. This beta version of Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 contains significant differences from the final release, revealing various early development details. One of the major differences was textures, as this early version has a lot of untextured assets, or some using placeholder ones, like just using some plain white doors instead of more stylized ones. Additionally, this early version lacks many props throughout the chapter, one of them actually being Elliot's desk in his office.
Oh yeah.
Then another thing missing in this early version are various animations. One example of this is Bunzo Bunny lacking any animations in the Simon Says section of the chapter. And then another good example is Mommy Longlegs' death animation, being incomplete to say the least, and honestly pretty funny to watch. Then in addition to those, other major differences
That'd be hilarious if that like bugged through.
Cut include Poppy's dialogue.
Like if that bugged through on the original Chapter 2, just Mommy Longlegs' head going out of the thing.
I think that would have caused a lot of traumatic people. Or a lot of people being traumatized.
Being quite a bit different, making her sound much less antagonistic. PJ Pugapillar appeared bloodied in the early version. Poppy phases into existence instead of emerging from a box, and then some interactions, like Poppy appearing in some vents, don't appear to be in this early version either. This early beta version of this chapter gives us a really cool glimpse into Poppy Playtime Chapter 2's development, highlighting significant revisions made to the chapter before release. And my friends, that's about it for this list. I'll be playing through and probably making videos on Chapter 4 in the near future after this is uploaded, so be sure.
Alright, I think that's it. Yeah, that was interesting to see the development progress of Poppy Playtime. I need to start watching more Five Nights at Freddy's from Tetrabit too, because like Tetrabit seems like the only one that would like go into the files and actually look into the game and post it on YouTube. Like he's probably that guy for that sort of information. So I guess I'll be looking at that more because I want to see more of like what Scott went through developing games like FNAF 2 as well. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. If you guys want to see me play Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, make sure you guys smack that like button. Let me know if I should put Chapter 4 in parts or should I put it in like in a full video. Let me know if I should do that too. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.